similarities to J-Bay. Maybe just don't tell Jordy Smith. I learned my lesson the first year, Joe. But he made the semis last year, and he's looked incredible during the free surfs, going up against one of the top dogs at this location, though. Seemed like Griffin was looking for the inside right there, Joe.
McGillivray turns and makes a move to start off this heat. Big slice, great connection on the forehand of the South African, punches it out again. CI Surfboard reacting to these drives down the line. Full hook, awkward rebound is going to shut that opening wave down. But he's getting on the board quickly. And
it just seems like this wave, especially with the offshore, it really makes you pay after your mistakes, Joe. First combination, really strong, though. A lot of spray, especially considering how strong Matthew is. He's one of the strongest on tour. And right here, the racetrack section, low tide still, comes out of this one. Just a little awkward right at the end. That little extra pull that you see, seems like his fins disengaged. Just a slight touch, Joe. But the first combination on the outside, excellent stuff. It should be a decent score to open things up for the South African. And right here, middle part of the wave, racetrack, have to come around it. And you don't want to push too hard. He did so just right at the end, Joe. Still going to be a nice little opener for the South African McGillivray.
Just breaking down the flow on this big section.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that our head judge, Luli Pereira, asked for this morning. Wants you to be in control of your board the entire time, but maintain that flow throughout the entirety of the wave. We saw a lot of flow in the first two sections, and it just allowed for it due to how steep those sections were on the outside. And once he made it to the inside right here, I mean, he just has to really gain as much speed as possible, Joe. We're talking about at least 4 or 5 pumps right there. Diminishes the speed, and I was thinking to myself, okay, you cut it a bit short, don't go all the way around, and you're probably getting at least 2 or 3 sections extra. And right here, you bring it around just a bit too much, Joe. See how those fins disengage right there, and he just loses that speed, and as you mentioned, a little bit of an awkward exit, scores in, and it's enough for.
As we look at wave number 2 for Matty.
I'm a fan of this one, Joe. A bit wider right here, beautiful first carve to snap on the opening section, a lot more intensity on that second one. And I just love the pacing of this inside section right here. Into the lip, a lot of spray. And I know it's a smaller one, but when you just consider the intensity and how much power he's putting into each and every turn, especially on the steeper sections, it's very well surfed. And just a slip up right there at the end, Joe, that is uncharacteristic of the South African McGillivray. But once again on the outside, just excellent flow. Look at the way he just carves the snap right there. That is a patented maneuver from McGillivray. And he just varies things so well on the forehand, which is difficult to do at a wave that just runs on you the entire time, Joe. Pacing here, I was actually talking to the dog this morning. It's not as noticeable on the forehand.
But we're going back here to live action. Colapinto on his opener. Perfect snap to start. Little speed slash, slowing down the pace to match the speed of that inside corner. Throws the tail into reverse. And laying down some arcs again. Solid in his variety. Flow state. Finding a rhythm on an off-speed wave here through this inside track. And nice connection to stay on his feet.
Smart timing on the entirety of this wave, Joe. Wanted to get going, almost 13 minutes gone by. First snap is solid on the outside. And here he just kind of sets up the entirety of the rest of the wave. Love the pacing of it. Throw tail reverse right there. Nice coming out of it too, just going into the next section with a lot of speed still. And you can see right here, Joe, on the inside section, not trying to overdo anything. Just make sure you're just finishing this wave off. You're capitalizing on your opponent's mistakes too, especially knowing that the 373 of McGillivray could have been a bit higher if he actually got the closeout re-entry. Once again on the outside, great use of the speed, and it's just the experience, the read of the wave, having won here before, 2 finals already, and even the heat that he lost to Joao Chianca last year still had his highest score ever at this location, Joe. But seeing this, of course, the elements of progression in there, the flow. But one thing I really want to point out on this one, especially on the outside, the change of speed that you see from Griffin is something noticeable coming from lower trestles, uppers. It's not every day that you get to see somebody go from being real slow to real quick like that in transition.
Good point, Mitch. Yeah, just your speed management, so crucial to enter that flow, which is in the criteria. And like you were bringing up before, disruption of flow is really obvious. Before he was really putting pressure on himself to perform. Colapinto, throw tail, throws it away.
Yeah, and it seems like McGillivray right here might be in the spot for one of the best waves we've seen all morning long, Joe. And Colapinto going to get caught inside. Here's Matty, though.
28 years old from Jeffreys Bay, South Africa, laying down that cool little slingshot carve. Punches out the tail, cool. Reverse on the very next decision. Matthew loves to surprise you with a very steady ability above the lip. Big two-turn combo here. Oh, and he's a tall brother, too. I mean, things can go the wrong way, especially when you're moving this quickly, Joe. That's a strong snap right there to start things off, and quick readjustment right there, as he said. A wider stance, had to move his feet just a bit wider just to be able to get that stance open and really connect with the air right there. But an excellent combination. Less is more today, Joe, especially with that strong offshore wind. And I cannot overemphasize how difficult that air is on such a small wave with that offshore just going straight into the lip line the entire time. But it's the power, Joe. I mean, not many people could do this air, considering that he is one of the strongest on tour. He has this thing on lock. Look at that slight readjustment, though, the way he just shifted his feet a little front forward, knowing that he needs to land on a certain part of the wave. Perfect timing, though, and that should be, to me, the best score of the heat so far. Colapinto just moving quietly into position. It's a good wave. It's his turn to light this one up here at Punta Roca. Nice groom conditions for the Californian. Big blitz off the lip line. Little sticky on the second turn, but he still has the speed, and he'll have to get out of there. So Griff having to keep that second wave short. He'll stay in second. It was really impressive that Griffin can stay calm and do his brand of surfing here. This was otherworldly, Joe. Just one maneuver, but when you consider how strong that offshore wind is, that is extremely difficult. And then Matty behind him was looking for an answer, didn't get it. But once again, maybe not the highest of rotations, though, but he's thrown that towards the peach, fins forward the entire time, and a full rotation right here by the surfer from Southern California. Especially, look, once again, that landing right there, that white water coming in, all that impact surrounding you, and of course, the moment being under pressure too, you're needing a score, and it seems like he is going to get more than what he needs, Joe. Well done to Griffin Colapinto, guitar player for Steel Pulse, making the trip down to support Griff. As we see McGillivray kicking out of the next one, hearing the reaction from the fans. Both have been in all the events here in El Salvador for the last 3 years, as McGillivray will take this right. Big whip into the pocket, a lot of spray off the CI. Keeps that higher line on the wrapping cutback. Now down to the bottom, floats it. Lays down the rail. Setting up a nice vertical to change gears. This one's making him run down the stretch. Cool float for the South African. Punching the pins out in the flats. Matty McGillivray responds and just wants to make sure that the judges would give him credit for that. I actually gave him credit before he did the doggy paddle in the whitewater. That was so smooth. Considering how difficult that air was. On the outside, though, very intelligent, astute surfing on the outside. That's a beautiful carve to start things off. And then right here, just make sure he's matching the pace of the wave, not trying to overdo anything into the lip, tough section, especially with that weird double up in the middle section. And then right here, don't make a mistake. Make sure that your section's coming up and just surf it as good as you can. Right here, though, I mean, he completely changes the pace out of everything, and he throws the Hail Mary right there, Joe, and that is difficult. It is not only crucial to the score as well, but he was under pressure, had to use priority to catch that wave at the end, Joe, and surfed it as good as he could have on the outside. Gosh, he changed gears well, didn't he? Really solid, drivey wraps. That was a punchy little section he had to float, and watch him switch gears again. This is so crazy, considering that it's very shallow on the inside still. We're, getting that low tide at the moment, and you can see right here, he just eyes that section, knows that it's going to steepen up real quick, and this just throws it towards the rocks, and incredible stuff right there, Joe. I mean, but we talk about him being one of the strongest surfers on tour. Not many people could have sustained that landing as Matt did. Literally landing on the nose. That was insane. How's he looking as he paddles by you, Waz? 6 minutes to go. Oh, I'm excited, Joe. I'm excited. Griffin Colapinto running after his first turn. Nice clean down carve. Swoops it in the pocket. Nice steady start for last year's number 3 in the world. Big belt there vertically. Nice calm paced approach. Hits it off the coping. Looks like he was aerial hunting there for a moment. Switches gears to a nice clean top turn slice. Now a nice connection, staying on his board for the finish. 5.43, so Griffin already in first even before this wave scored.
Yeah, and this should improve on the 5.33. I mean, a lot of flow, great connection, of course. Just study this wave right before he paddled out too. Not trying to overdo anything. And when he goes vertical, Joe, he's still maintaining a certain angle down the line, trying to keep his speed. And you can see right here, chaining the pace once again. Of course, that wrap is difficult with this offshore, but see how he's coming out of those turns with a certain angle, always down the line still. You don't want to get too vertical unless you're on the backhand right here. So a great read, of course, but see how he never goes too high either. I mean, with that offshore wind, you get caught just a little bit and you're too far behind the wave, Joe. So excellent pacing. Just seems to me like he's really been free surfing out here quite a bit and knows what the wave's going to do ahead of time.
And Matty's thinking about the wave to turn this heat right here. He locks in. Hard off the bottom, big punch right there in the pocket. Lighting up the lip with some hammers out the back. Make it 3. McGillivray, throw tail, punt in the flats. Looks like he should be able to get priority. We'll keep you posted on that as we watch his last wave.
Yeah, this is an excellent culmination on the outside. Much more aggressive right here, Joe. He learned his lesson on the outside. 2 huge snaps down the line right there, and just a lot of emphasis on that throw tail reverse at the end as well.
Landing, Griffin on his response. Torques that carve down to the bottom. Drives through the lip well. Good tag from Griff. Just speed management for the ramp. Tail is just floating through the sky. Nice and easy for last year's world number 3.
Griff live action.
Griffin now in a big bowl section. Instead, this is the replay of his last wave.
Yeah, so smaller wave, less maneuvers, and as you said, we don't count maneuvers, but not a whole ton of quality when we consider his 6s so far in this heat. The air was cool. Will it improve on something in the good range already in this heat?
Important win for the South African, and he will be into the round of 16. Well done, Matty.